Welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melisa Caprio. Do you believe in magic? What if you were told that all you had to do was get a little creative and work a magic spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Here on Postcards to the Universe, we will share manifesting, tips, postcards, creativity, abundance, and prosperity. Here is your host, Melisa Caprio.
Hello and welcome to Postcards to the Universe with Melisa, creating the life you crave. I hope you guys are doing well. How is everybody today? I can't believe we're already in June. Oh my God, it's June 1st. God, time flies, right? Today I have a really cool show. I have spiritual life coach Melkez on, and we're going to be focusing on astral travel today. So I'm really excited. That's a new one for me. So I'm going to be hearing and diving into that and how that works. And apparently we can all do it. So we'll see. For those of you who are just joining my show for the first time, welcome. For those of you who join me every week, thank you again for being here with me. But for those of you who are listening to me first, and this is the first time you're hearing me and Cal, I just want you to let you know a little bit about me. I am also an author, and I'm a photographer, and my book is titled Postcards to the Universe, Harness the Universe's Power and Manifest Your Dreams. And in my book, I have 30 manifesting stories, along with photographs that I took of the contributors manifesting postcards. And in it, I include a bunch of writing exercises, so it helps us get clear on what we want to manifest, because sometimes we are not quite sure. We'll say we want to be happy, but I'll say, well, what does happiness look like to you? And you might not even know what happiness looks like. So this just helps us get clear. And there's a toolbox full of exercises on manifesting money and career and health and abundance and so much more. So if you're interested in doing the inner work exercises and reading people's incredible journeys of transformation, inspiration, and manifesting, go to your favorite bookstore and you can purchase a copy. Thank you. I would love that if you did that. Each week, I also share a magical message that I post on Mondays. It's an image of a manifesting postcard, and I photograph it with the affirmation that I like to think about or focus on for the week. I think using affirmations daily is a powerful way for it to become a new belief in our lives. And this week's magical message is love my dreams. Like, I love my dreams, right? So it's a repost. It's from last year, but I thought it was worth repeating. Just an FYI for you guys, I am going to be traveling over the next month. So I'm probably going to pause these until I get back. I'm not sure yet. If I can do them while I'm on the road, I'm going to do them, but I'm not going to, stress myself out to try to get one done each week like I can do when I'm home. But the love my dreams, I was thinking about it because I think we need to make our dreams important, and we need to love and nurture them, and we need to put our attention on our dreams and watch how things begin to manifest. I'm just thinking about this trip I have coming up. So this is going to be my last live show until July 13th, but I'll be back live. I'm just taking some time off. I'm going to England and Ireland for a while. I'm super excited. So about thinking about my dreams and loving my dreams, I wanted to reuse this one because I have been wanting to go over there, especially England, for, God, I don't even know how many years now. Just been thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, and I'm feeling so called to go there. And I have been visualizing it, with everything with the pandemic and how it's been a crazy time. And when I finally made the decision, an opportunity came up for me to do a writer's retreat in Ireland. And I'm like, well, Ireland's right next to England, so this is perfect. And everything just started to fall into place. It just so happens a friend of mine is meeting me at the writer's retreat, and we are going to rent a car and travel all through Ireland. And then somebody else that you guys know who listen to OMTimes radio, Elizabeth Lindsay, she just happens to be over in England at the same time, and we're going to meet up. So It's just funny how when you really focus on your dreams and you're loving them and you're having gratitude for all of that, how these things just kind of fall into your lap and play out. So that's why I wanted to focus on this postcard, since I'm going to be traveling. Next week I'm leaving. I'm super excited. So think about what your dreams are, guys, and really focus on them and nurture them and love them and make a postcard around them and send them to me, please. I need more postcards coming to my mailbox. If you want to see what I'm talking about and see my magical messages that I post each week, they're across all my social media platforms, Postcards to the Universe, and my website. And if you're a Facebook user and you want to join an inspirational group, you can come and join my public Facebook group, Postcards of Love. So like I said, I'm going to be out of town. And I'll be back on July 13th. But I spoke to Christopher, my producer here at OMTimes, and I sent him some shows that I thought would be great to have a re-listen to while I was gone. And the first one I am asking them to play next week is from astrologer Christopher Witecki. And I had him on at the very last Wednesday of 2021 because he was talking all about 2022. And he touches on each sign. So it's going to be interesting 6 months down the road to see where we're at. So guys, give it a listen and see what you think. Okay, so I'm really excited to get to my guest today. Cal Melkez is a spiritual life coach and Reiki master. He teaches astral projection and magic. With his background in psychology, Cal has a unique perspective on the mind and has dedicated himself to understanding the human consciousness. Along that pursuit, Cal has learned and taught the benefits of meditation, binaural beats, holotropic breathing, transcendental meditation, astral projection, and ritual magic. Cal's mission is to awaken people to their full potential and help them to never stop adventuring. I love that. So if you can find out more about Cal, he's got a TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, but you can find out on his website. It's Cal, C-A-L, Melkez, M-E-L-K-E-Z, movement.wix, WIXSITE.com. Welcome, Cal. Thanks for being here with me today.
Hi, it's such a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you, especially about astral projection, which we'll get to in a little bit. So first, this is a lot of stuff that you're doing, which is really cool. And I love the fact that you say that you do magic. And it's really interesting because you offer people can come to you if they want to do a little magic and work a little spell, which I thought, oh, that's really fun. He offers that too. So how did you get into this whole, all of it? How'd you like get down this road? Or were you always this kind of a person that was like tapped in and tuned into it?
I love telling the story because I feel like I refine it more and more every time, and I learn more about who I am in the telling of it. I was always a rather peculiar kid growing up, an outsider, and I was always searching for more. I had this innate longing in me for the more behind reality because I knew there had to be more. There's this knowing that kids have, and I was hit with that stick, and so as I progressed through life, I had a tendency to gravitate toward the things that were a little mysterious, the unexplainable things. And the first things that kind of got me were the paranormal. I met a friend who, his family was deep into these sort of things. They experienced paranormal things very often. And he himself, I remember the first time he told me, he was like, I couldn't move one morning. I woke up and I tried moving my arm really hard. And the next thing you know, I saw a blue translucent version of my hand come up. And it terrified me, so I slammed my hand back down. And that story, it should have frightened me, but
it didn't.
It fueled me. I was hooked. I was like, whatever you're talking about, I need to figure that out. And it was that moment that really jump-started my curiosity for spirituality and meditation. I knew that in the subconscious was hidden our greatest potential. I knew that we were connected to something great, and so I started with hypnosis. And I have a tendency to talk on and on and on about this stuff. Again, I love this stuff. So if you have any questions,
no,
or you want to interject, please
that's
do.
why I love having guests. I love hearing these stories. I learn something new, and my mind, I love to learn new things. So I learned something new from each person I have, and I love it. So please, you got the floor. Share with us.
I shall. So I began things the best that I could come up with because I was interested in the mind, and I had an idea about how things worked. I said, let me get into hypnosis. And because I always heard you get hypnotized, you connect to your subconscious mind. That's all I knew back then. I was probably in high school at that time. And so I started to do some self-hypnosis. I started to learn to relax, to do these guided imagery exercises and so on and so forth. And that progressively led me into some more Eastern practices, some more Buddhism and Hinduism, and these practices of chakras and things like that. And I experienced my first bit of, I want to say power, first bit of validity, proof from meditation. I was doing a breathing exercise, and breathing exercises, for anyone who's new, anyone who's trying to dive deeper in their practice, pranayama is and should be a key core element to your meditation practice. Everything I do today, everything I teach people today, it centers heavily around controlling your breathing, tapping into your nervous system, the vagus nerve, all that other business, just by breathing in controlled ways. So the breathing technique that I did, I was following a guru at that time on YouTube who gave this technique. He called it the unclutched breath. And anyone can do this. People listening right now, I love techniques and methods, and I love giving tons of them. So this is one to start. You can sit quietly, as I did. I couldn't get right into the, full lotus, so I kind of propped pillows under myself and, all that sort of stuff. I was very new. But the purpose of this breath is to detach from the ego. And I'll talk more about the ego later, because understanding that you are not the mask you wear in society will open you up to a whole host of amazing things. But you focus on, as you breathe in, you want to focus on the negative space that your breath creates as it switches over to an exhale. So you inhale, and that moment of nothing where you're not breathing in or out, you focus on that as you breathe out. And you want to focus on these negative spaces. You breathe out, focus on the switch from out to in. And then you focus on that spot. You don't have to hold your breath here. This is an easy thing for beginners to practice. But you're focusing on the nothing. And scientifically, we know that when you start to focus and bring your attention to one-pointedness, you are closer to having no thoughts or reaching a place of non-subvocalism, where you're not thinking words, and that'll bring you to a place what's called in yoga as samadhi, or this oneness, this connection with everything. I did that for the first time as I was going through my journey, and everything started to shake. I noticed I did it for maybe a few minutes, and it felt like I was in an earthquake.
Oh, wow.
I started to get nervous, and I was like, what's going on here? And I felt I was dropping just right through the floor. I was just falling out of nowhere. And I opened my eyes, because obviously I didn't expect to be on a broken elevator going through the ground. I opened my eyes, and the whole house is shaking. And and I'm nervous. I stop, and I was like, I'm normal for a second. I was like, let me just stop for a second. And as I stopped, everything distilled into its normal form. What I didn't realize then, and I do now, is that I was separating from my ego. I was reaching that place of oneness and connection, and I was entering a trance. And trance is paramount to a lot of what I do. Paramount. And that's one of the main things I teach people when they work with me. I have programs where I take people through 40 days of guided, intense meditation program to get you from a novice to someone who's working magic, someone who's astral projecting and doing all these things. And trance is the best way to get there.
That sounds so wild. Like I'm dreaming right now as I'm talking to you. I'm thinking I gotta talk to Cal when I get back from my trip, and maybe work with you, because I think that would be something that would be really good for me to take things to a next level. We haven't even gotten started yet. That's just the beginning.
We're just getting started.
A new adventure. I love it.
Never
Okay.
stop. You never stop adventuring, definitely.
You never stop. And I think even just learning how to breathe better is so helpful. Even if you don't want to go so deep, right? But even just learning how to breathe, because I notice I do it, and I'm sure everybody does it. We have so much stress and things hitting us on a daily basis. We stop breathing. We hold our breath too much, and we're not, and that's can't be healthy for our bodies.
Yeah, it's not. It's absolutely not. This maintaining these levels of stress, it's harmful to the body. Joe Dispenza talks about this a lot in his work. Heart Math Institute talks about this. And we know just scientifically, just broadly understood concept that the body holds a lot of this stress, and you're releasing cortisol and these other harmful stress hormones. And the body, you see, the subconscious, it doesn't know the difference between the past and the present and the future. And a lot of the people I work with, they have a problem with regretting the past and fearing the future. They live in that negative thought loop. And because you're living that way, you're remaining in a state of fight or flight.
Right.
If you stay in that place, you never get to rest and digest. And that's when the body heals.
Yeah.
So if you stay in a state of stress, obviously, you start to get these skin diseases. You start to get these ulcers. You start to have autoimmune disorders, things like this, because we're constantly stressed. This is why I start with pranayama, learning to breathe. There was a study done by Harvard that they focused on a particular meditative breath. And that here's another technique, because I love the techniques.
Okay, hold the technique, because we just came up to our first break, and then I want to talk about, we'll do the technique, and then we'll talk more. All right, guys, Stay tuned. I'll be back in just a couple minutes with Cal.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes. Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hi, I'm Melisa Caprio from Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave. Do you believe in magic? What if I told you all you had to do was get a little creative and work a dream spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Well, guess what? I've got the spell for you. Postcards to the Universe, a global movement for manifestation, is a casting magical tool for you to use whenever you want. How does living in passion sound to you? Join me in my movement where you get to create in the magical playground. Let's think outside the box and do some playful conjuring. By casting out our desires with a manifesting postcard, we explore our hearts and allow the alchemy of our dreams to appear. And don't forget to tune in each week here on OMTimes Radio with my show, Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I share tips on creativity, abundance, and prosperity, and you will be introduced to the coolest guests, trailblazers, mystics, and creatives who enrich our lives.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
The rainbow is God's promise of hope for you and me. And though the clouds hang heavy and the sun we cannot see, we know above the dark clouds that fill the stormy sky, hope's rainbow will come shining through when the clouds have drifted by. Teresa Caprio is the president and founder of Rainbow Guardian Inc., a nonprofit 501c3 serving the intellectually challenged/developmentally disabled, including autism. Teresa started the foundation in 1995 so she could help make a better life for her intellectually challenged daughter. Her dream is that the Rainbow Guardian will provide the necessary tools and education to help the public understand the special needs population, because it's often discarded in mainstream society. To find out more or make a donation in support, please go to www.rainbowguardian.org. Rainbow Guardian's special mission is to see these unique people live a happy, full life and have a future of liberty and equality.
Welcome back. And if you're just joining me today, I have spiritual life coach and Reiki master, who he also teaches astral projection, Cal Melkez on. And we were talking about the importance of what is it? Pranayama breathing. How do you say it, Cal? I want to say it right.
Yes, pranayama. Yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure that I'm saying it correctly. Okay, so you were going to tell us a technique, and then I want you to explain to us what trance is, because somebody might not understand the difference between trance and meditation. Like, there's certain things, so I'll let you share all that. So what was the technique you were? Yeah, the buzzword.
Yeah.
So what was the technique?
So the technique that Harvard studied a control group, and they saw that after 28 days of doing this particular breathing technique, that everyone reduced their stress level. They started to heal themselves of their autoimmune diseases and skin disorders, things like that, just from changing their breathing. They tapped into their nervous system, and they basically just told their body, hey, I'm no longer in fight or flight. I'm not running from a bear anymore. I'm okay. Turn off the cortisol. Turn off the epinephrine. I'm okay. And the body naturally healed itself. A lot of times people think they need to go on juice fast. They need to go on these crazy intense diets. The body cleanses itself naturally when you stop adding the toxicity to it. And sometimes the toxicity is in our minds. So the breathing technique is very simple. All you do is you want to take a breath in, controlled breath in. You don't have to do anything crazy, just, a full breath in. And once you've reached the top of your breath, when you think you can't breathe anymore, take another sharp breath in. And then hold it for a few seconds and breathe out normally and controlled. You want to do this for 5 to 10 minutes, these controlled breaths. And that's it. You do that for a set of 28 days, 30 days, and you'll drastically notice the difference. For a lot of people who don't think there's power in how to control their breath, I give them things like that, these easy breathing techniques. And this takes me, perfect segue, into trance. You see, trance, the idea behind a trance is that when you hook yourself up to an ECG or, anything that can measure brainwave frequency, the more relaxed you become, the slower your brainwaves oscillate. So you'll go from the wake and alert, the beta, down to alpha, and then theta. And as everyone knows, we all like to be in delta, the nice deep sleep space. Trance is moving yourself from that beta brainwave frequency, very alert and active, down to a more relaxed and contemplative, meditative state. A lot of what I do is to teach people to move their level of awareness down to this place and then further into theta, because theta, when your brain waves are oscillating at about 7 to 4 hertz, that's when you start to tap into these paranormal things. I found that a lot of people who are going through these alien abductions, or they had an out-of-body experience, or sleep paralysis, or any of these things, they're in this deep, deep level of meditation, this deep level of theta state. And so trance is just a methodical way of getting to a place you get to naturally. You just may not notice. Anytime you're laying in bed and you're watching TV and your eyelids get heavy and you start to feel warm and you sink into the bed, that's your body going into a trance state.
Okay.
And that's what we do in meditation. That's what's required to reach a place of astral projection. As I was going through my journey, after that first meditation that rocked me, that we talked about before the break, I doubled down on everything. I was like, this is real. This is it. I started meditating more often, and I started looking into what people call lucid dreaming. Because as you start to meditate, you start to open your chakras and, you start to cleanse your aura and these things that I teach, you will naturally start tapping into your psychic abilities.
Right.
This is another thing that you and I talked about before in our initial call was most people believe that there are psychics and non-psychics. I am here on this earth to awaken people to the actual factual idea that everyone has the potential in them to be psychic. Everyone has a gift and ability because we are all one. You are the aperture by which the universe perceives itself. You are the eyes behind this human experience. So understanding that you too have the ability, within you lies the hidden potential to do all manner of creative things. It's in you.
Right.
And you often have to shake that misconception like, oh, well, they're psychics and then they're normal people. I'm a normal person. In the beginning, I didn't have any abilities. I didn't do or see anything. Now, with the techniques that I teach people and cleansing your aura, opening your chakras, awakening your psychic centers, you'd be surprised the things that I can see. Like psychic development happens in steps, of course, but you go from inner vision of the third eye to an outer vision over time. It progresses. I see people's auras as clearly as you would see someone shining a light behind someone else on a stage. And that's just how it is. And, my wife is used to it. I'll be like, oh, your aura's a little bit more green right now, or you're shining brightly. What you'll notice...
like, stop watching my aura.
No. What you'll notice is that when you start to do more energy work, and energy work is if I had core elements of what I teach, it'd be pranayama, trance, energy work, and the activation of your psychic potentials. And all of that leads to astral projection and magic and things like that. But energy work, when you really start to get into that, and you do it daily, because these practices have to be done daily, you'll walk down the street and you'll see someone who does a lot of energy work, who stays in meditation, because their aura will be bright. When I walk around someone, I can feel their energy. The chills you get. Everyone feels this stuff.
Yeah.
The first thing I love doing is telling people how normal and natural it is to be unnatural. When you're listening to a piece of music and you feel those chills and that rushing energy, that's the energy that psychic people and paranormal people are talking about.
Right.
When you walk past someone and you get this rush of energy, like, man, something about this person, you're tapping into that person's energy. You're being psychic. It's very normal. It's very natural, and it builds and develops.
Yeah.
I feel like I got sidetracked.
No, that's good. It's a good for people to understand, because people don't realize, because everybody has had an experience where you're around somebody and that person, they don't feel good, right? Something feels off, right? We've all had that, so that is you tapping into the energy. And that's a good example because, you'll be like, there's something not right here with this person. I want to stay away. We've all had those experiences. But when you get into trance, right? When you go into trance, you help teach us how to do that. Is that where you're at when astral projection starts? And first of all, what is trance? Because people think we see stuff on television, but that's not the reality. So where are we when we're in trance?
Well, when we're in trance, trance is just an altered state of consciousness. If you wanted a basic, cut and dry definition, if you looked it up, trance would be a state of altered consciousness where you're more relaxed, something like that. Okay. Now, what you see, I think you're talking about stage hypnotism, things like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to say those things aren't real. It's just all hypnotism is self-hypnotism. The people on stage know what they're doing. They're allowing those things to happen. What I teach is how to basically hack your brain and get into a place where when you set out to do manifestation, you're already connected to your subconscious mind. One of the greatest issues I've found with manifestation, why people can't do it, is because the experience in their mind isn't as visceral as it should be. Their analytical brain is blocking their signal to the right side of the brain, the more creative, the subconscious powered part. And you get by that through trance, because what happens, you start to relax and your mind slows down. The analytical part of your brain starts to calm down. And when you give yourself suggestions and you start to manifest, another great tip that I teach everyone about manifestation, because it's so powerful, and I think everyone needs this. Manifestation isn't just you seeing what you want out of life.
Right.
It's not just you envisioning where you want to be, what you want to have or achieve. It's you feeling it, hearing it, smelling it, feeling the love in your heart, the gratitude in your heart for this experience. You know how I said earlier that the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between past or future or present. And you can trick it. You can make yourself believe that you already have achieved what you want simply by feeling like you already have. Your mind doesn't know the difference. Your subconscious mind will attract for you exactly what you want if you believe as though you have it. That's the law of assumption. I am the person I want to be. I am, and I feel it in my body. I am that person. It starts there. Manifestation is very powerful.
Yeah, it's just practice like anything else. You just have to practice. Is it sort of like what happens when you daydream? You know, like when all of a sudden you'll be just sitting there and you're daydreaming, and you know, especially when we were in school and you're bored with what the teacher's talking about, and you go into whatever it is. You're like, your mind slows down, but you're dreaming about something. I feel like daydreaming is very powerful manifestation work if we're talking about manifesting, you know? Because you feel it when you're in a daydream. You feel it. You tap into it.
You're there.
You're there.
You're on. We're connected. I can tell we're connected because you are going to go exactly where I was going to go. Like, you've even brung up the perfect analogy that I use, and this is the big thing. People don't believe that they can astral project because they think it has to be a one and done 0 or 100% thing. And what you don't realize is that everyone astral projects. So you ask yourself, what is astral projection? And this is my strong suit. This is my PhD in spirituality. What is astral projection? Astral projection, in my opinion, in my practice, is the movement of your conscious awareness away from your physical body, your 5 senses. When you are daydreaming, you are no longer sitting on the couch, sitting at the desk, wherever you are. You are off in that imagination. You're in your own inner world. That is the first part of astral projection, learning to move your awareness. And that's where energy work comes in as well, because where awareness goes, energy follows. When you learn to move your awareness throughout your body, it's easier to move it somewhere else. And I've got a whole slew of techniques and programs to help people with that. And I get messages from people all the time, oh, you've helped me astral project. I was never able to do it years and years and years, and I could do it. I've gotten to the point where people that work with me, they can have their first experience within the first week or two if they've never had one. Just because it's been tried and true and the techniques work. Because, you know, you get enough people to practice something and you're like, that's what works. You see, it's like, now I'm going to adopt this to every program. And you hit the nail right on the head. It's like daydreaming. I like to say that consciousness is like a radio, and we're on the home station right now, you and I. We're currently perceiving our 5 senses. That's the home station. But when you dial the radio a little bit away from the home station, that's when you start to get daydreaming. You start to get lucid dreaming. You start to get astral projection. The further you go away from the 5 senses, the further into the astral, into the etheric you get, which is why trance is important, because trance is what you use to turn the dial.
Well, you explained it so well. I so understand it. You really, really did. So can you get to the point when you astral project, the way we imagine it, or I imagine it is, I almost feel like I could turn around and see my body laying in the bed or whatever, and go anywhere I wanted to go. Like I would be able to do then remote viewing, right? Like, say I wanted to go see somebody that was on the other side of the world. I could do that if I could astral project with experience.
That's the interesting thing. There are techniques that I have, many, that I teach people that basically get you to the point where you realize it's easier to remote view than it is to astral project, because astral projection is the very end of the spectrum. You're no longer aware of anything physical. You are out there in the astral, feeling your astral body and those senses. Remote viewing is like using your astral eyes to purvey a different area. It's much easier. Much easier.
Interesting.
Happens faster. And people are surprised when I give them the techniques and they go through the meditation and they start seeing flashes behind their closed eyes of real images and places. And they're like, oh my God, I saw this place. What does it look like? Where is this? Where is that? And I did an experiment one time with a group of people I met where I proved to them that I was seeing the location they were at. And they were all very surprised, of course, but, this is what we do. Like, this is a real thing. It's been tested. People have done it. I mean, the U.S. government was into it, Stargate program and all these other things. Right. So it's all very interesting stuff. And there are CIA disclosed documents about all this weird stuff.
I know there is. It's very fascinating. It's very fascinating.
Freedom of Information Act, man. It's really changing the game.
So, you said something before that you said something about sleep paralysis, okay? And like all these things are kind of leading to that. Now, I had an experience once where I wasn't sleeping. I was in a very deep meditative state. I was with a couple other people and they were scattering ashes, actually. And I was laying in the grass and I went into this very deep, like I wasn't thinking and I was in that like whatever. And all of a sudden I felt a tingle take over my whole body, vibration so strong I couldn't move my limbs and I felt like it gripped me and it scared me. Like, because I couldn't move. And I've never had the experience since. And I don't know what it was because it wasn't in the middle of my sleep, but it was in a very deep meditation. And I don't know what was happening, but it freaked me out because I felt like, paralyzed.
Right. Yeah. You basically went into a very deep trance. What happened is your body, it happens every night. Sleep paralysis is totally natural. I mean, from a scientific point, it happens every night. Your body, your muscles basically shut down, and there's a chemical that paralyzes the body so that you're not acting out your dreams and like falling off your bed and, punching your significant other in the face and all this.
Okay, wait. I just looked at the time. Well, because I can't believe we're already at the second break. So let's take our break and then we'll talk a little bit more about that. And I want to hear some of your experiences with astral projection. Yeah. Okay, guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Imagine yourself being transported to India, to the banks of the Ganga and an ashram in Rishikesh. Visualize that you are welcome to satsang with an American sannyasi who shares the wisdom of her guru. Your visualization has manifested. Join Sattvi Bhagawati Saraswati for inspiration and transformation every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Hi, I'm Melisa Caprio from Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave. Do you believe in magic? What if I told you all you had to do was get a little creative and work a dream spell to bring anything you can imagine into your life? Well, guess what? I've got the spell for you. Postcards to the Universe, a global movement for manifestation, is a casting magical tool for you to use whenever you want. How does living in passion sound to you? Join me in my movement where you get to create in the magical playground. Let's think outside the box and do some playful conjuring. By casting out our desires with a manifesting postcard, we explore our hearts and allow the alchemy of our dreams to appear. And don't forget to tune in each week here on OMTimes Radio with my show, Postcards to the Universe, creating the life you crave at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I share tips on creativity, abundance, and prosperity, and you will be introduced to the coolest guests, trailblazers, mystics, and creatives who enrich our lives.
If I could be you,
and you could be me,
for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
to get inside
each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Welcome back. Okay, so right before the break, Cal, we were talking a little bit about sleep paralysis, and you were saying that we all do that every night in our sleep, and that leads us into trance, correct?
That is correct. Trance, it has lots of tendrils. It's connected to a lot of things, but what you were experiencing in that meditation you were doing was a very, very deep state of trance where the body did exactly what it does every night. The body was like, oh, there's not enough activity going on in the brain. It's time to shut down. And so, the body did that. There are ways to end sleep paralysis very quickly. I had a lot of experiences with that were very frightening. And so I had to learn how to make that stop. One of the easiest ways is to change your breathing pattern. Again, the breath is very important. The body understands the breath very quickly. So if you were simply just to change your rate of breathing to a very deep, and you change your breathing very deeply, then the body's like, whoa, something's going on here. This isn't the breathing pattern of sleep, and so it wakes up. And so the body's very smart. It has those signals and things, and so you just have to work with it.
It seriously scared me like so much because I never experienced anything like that before.
People don't realize how visceral the experiences can be. My first astral projection experience was probably one of the most extreme experiences I've had to date. I've had many of them, but it was like,
what happened?
It really shook me.
If you don't mind sharing, what happened?
Oh, of course.
Where'd you go?
I love it. This was a 2-year-long adventure for me, trying to get to the place of astral projection. And it took a lot of work, a lot of experimentation, but finally on the night, I used binaural beats, I used a self-hypnosis technique that I give, and long story short, the experience was about to happen. I woke up from some weird dream, and, I thought to myself, well, that was a weird dream. I'm glad I'm awake. It was one of those, nightmarish dreams where I'm like, oh, thank goodness I didn't get got. I'm awake, I'm laying in bed, and I'm like, all right, well, let me go get up and get a drink of water. And as I get ready to roll to move out of the bed, I experienced that same paralysis you talked about, that same I can't move, I'm totally stuck. And then there was the energy, these shivers, these powerful, it was like I was on the raging bull, just the whole body moving. And it was paralyzingly frightening. I was like, I don't know what's going on. And it just kept ramping up. If you could imagine, a generator ramping up in my ears, and the energy was just rocking me to my core. And it was so intense that I thought to myself, if this continues, I'm going to die. It was that intense. I can't take this anymore. And when I said that, that's when I felt like hands grabbed my shoulders and pulled me out of my bed. And it was the strangest sensation because it felt like, imagine if you were wearing a pair of wet clothes, like a wet jumpsuit, and the feeling of the cold, electricity as you pull it off of your body. That's what it felt like. And the next thing you know, I'm on the bed. I'm off the bed, I'm on the floor, and I'm thinking to myself, what the heck is going on here? I get up, I look around my room, and everything has this interesting bluish tint, a light blue tint. I'm like, what's this? Maybe, I don't know what happened to me just then. And I look down at my bed, and I see myself laying there. And that's when I had the Twilight Zone, zooming in and zooming out sort of thing. And I was enamored. I was shook, I got in really close, and I looked at myself and my details, and I was just amazed. And I said to myself, finally, I have done it. After all of this time, it's happened. I proceeded to move through my house. I kind of floated through the house, and that's when I started to experience the free-form nature of out-of-body experiences. In a moment, I was in the desert. and I was in a different place entirely. And I was like, oh my gosh. In a moment, it went from dark to light. And I was like, what's happening here? And I was back in my kitchen. And in the next moment, I was seeing myself laying in my bed in the corner of my vision. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was trying to like stop myself, and I was back in my body. And I was shaking, convulsing. Like I had just gotten off of a roller coaster ride. And I sat there, I grabbed my recorder on my phone, and I was like, I've done it. It's finally happened, I was really crazy about it. But I have the date down. November 18th, 2012 was like the date it happened for me. And that's my astral birthday.
Is that the most spiritual, is that the most impactful spiritual experience you've had?
It was the first, and the first always has that it always has that special nature to you. Yeah. I've had experiences that were doubly as powerful as that, but that first one was something special.
Yeah, it's like a first love, even though you may not be with them, they still hold a special place in your heart, right? First love. Yeah. That's cool. So can you do it like almost now sort of at will? Like if you decide,
you know what, I
feel like I want to astral project tonight. I feel like I'm going to do that.
Some of the workings I do require that. So if I did want to do a special spell, or if I wanted to tap into something specifically, meet a certain entity, I've met my guides, I've met angels, and all these other different things. Holy beings, my mentor calls them. And I can sit, meditate, get to a deep enough place in meditation. I have special techniques I use to facilitate that depth and the exit process of my body, and then I go. It's something that I've gotten down to a routine. Maybe out of 10 times, it's an 8 out of 10 time, where when it doesn't happen, I'm still having a remote viewing astral experience. It's just not as visceral as other times. But it is very real.
Oh my God. Oh, so when you meet your guides or your angels or whatever, where are you going? Where is it like that they're just showing up for you and you're seeing them like you would have a conversation, like you said, with your wife who's sitting next to you? Or how does that work? I'm so curious.
In the astral, it is very clear. It is very visible and apparent. Astral projection it's more real than what we can see with our eyes. Like if your perception of reality wasn't limited by your 5 senses, how much better could you experience life? And that's what astral projection is. Everything is crisp. Every noise is beautiful. Everything is just vibrant and powerful once you've really mastered those techniques. And it is a powerful experience. When it comes to guides, sometimes I'm in a totally different place. Sometimes I'm in a higher astral realm, and there's a whole there's so much stuff going on with that. There's so many other realms to visit and amazing things. You can lose base very quickly going to these other places. I've had experiences where I have seen other dimensions outside of time, and it's very, very interesting experiences where I've looked at time. I've seen the whole of my life like a kaleidoscope. Every shard of the kaleidoscope, every fold was a different moment in my life, and it was just, there's some of these experiences that are so confounding that you do need to take time afterward just to think and process what you've experienced.
Yeah, it sounds like it. God, this is the stuff that we need to be learning in school. Forget all the stuff they're teaching us now. This is the stuff that they should be doing. We should be doing with kids when we're little in school. Can you imagine? Oh my God, how different the world would be. Yeah, it'd be so easy for them. The world would look so different, wouldn't it? Yeah. So you said that we can all do this. It's just something like, it's like practice, like practicing our spiritual muscles, something that we should be doing every day if we really want to do this kind of stuff. If we want to astral project or remote view or self-heal, these are all the things that we should be doing. And anyone can do it, right?
Absolutely. It's not inaccessible. I tell people all the time, you don't have to learn this stuff from me. If you want, you can trek up the mountain alone, and the universe will put in your place the people you need to be with. Yeah. You don't have to have anyone doing this with you. If you were alone in a cave, you could do it. But it's always good to have a teacher there. It's always good to have someone guide you. I've had numerous mentors in my life, and some very interesting people, some of which have taught me energy work, how to feel energy and contact spirits. And some of these people could perceive thoughts, could see the future, could tell you what dreams you had without you telling it. It's just so much amazing stuff happens when you simply open yourself up to what's new. When you say to yourself, I am never going to stop adventuring. I am here for it.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. You talk a little bit about, I want to just touch on this about magic, ritual magic, and the occult. Now,
yes.
So you believe magic is real? Is magic real? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it is real. Yeah, I know it is too.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I know it is too. Now, what about black magic? What are your thoughts? I know you practice ritual magic and you offer spells for people or rituals that we can do that you'll help us do to manifest and stuff. But what about this black dark magic? What do you think about that?
I think of magic in terms of a power source or energy.
Okay.
It's only black magic when your intents are to do harm.
Okay.
I've worked with angelic beings, or what people would call angels. I call them holy beings because they have allegiance to certain religions. I've worked with beings who are neutral, and I've worked with beings who are from the abyss, darker beings. The only difference between them is that the darker beings don't care what you do with the power they give you. You have to respect them because they're not going to hold your hand. All magic, for people who are interested in getting into this sort of thing, the magic that I practice, that I'm being taught, I met a gentleman out in Lebanon through the YouTube channel I have now, and we've established an amazing relationship. And he's teaching me some magic that everything has originated from Egypt, it seems. And this magic is so potent. It all relies on the connection with a spirit. There's two different types of magic. There's energy magic, what I teach, and there is traditional magic. Traditional magic works by the power of spirits. You call the spirits. That's what you'd call an invocation. You're calling these spirits to you, and they have certain abilities. Some of them are good with love. Some of them will help you find a lover. Some of them are good with business. They'll help you start a business, bring clients to you. Some are good with warfare. Some are good with manipulating elements of reality, like invisibility and levitation. I'm the guy that you come to when you have nothing else, and you meet me in a back part of a random forest, and I'm conjuring up spirits, and I've got a fire lit. Like, my journey through this thing, I'm that guy that you'd see on Princess and the Frog. Only I don't have an ending like that guy, the witch doctor. I've taken on that persona. But there is great power to this. There really is. And it's a serious thing, and I'd caution anyone who's interested in trying, you have to know what you're doing, because when you make a mistake, mistakes can last a long time, and you need someone experienced to cleanse those things. You would be surprised how many emails I get from people who say, I've been possessed. There are things in my house. And I ask them, what did you do? Well, I was trying to do this spell, and there you go. You probably did it wrong. And the spirit is stuck with you because you've called it and you haven't sent it away, or you've called it improperly. Now it's stuck with you, and it's going to make your life a hell because you've made their life a hell. There's a whole way of doing this. And I can talk to you for hours and hours about magic. There is so much to the world of magic. I was going to say,
I got to have you come back on, and we'll just do a show just around magic.
Oh, my gosh.
Because there's so much. I know.
So powerful.
I know. It is.
I wish I could. I was just doing a live stream yesterday with my mentor, and he put a spirit, an entity, into my hand and was moving my fingers and my thumbs and things just by the uses of this spirit. And my hand was numb and cold for probably an hour afterward. And it was the craziest thing I'd ever experienced. That had someone do for, like, just, hey, you want to see some proof? And I was like, yeah, why not? And then he did this thing, and I was like, all right then. I was just on the roof of my house at midnight doing a spell where I had to conjure an entity, and it's very real. And I'm probably, there aren't too many people doing this genuine stuff. What you'll find everywhere else is things that will either get you in trouble or they won't have any effect at all.
Interesting.
Just
So
know who you're
interesting.
working with.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. So so people can work with you. So that's a good segue. So what is the best way for people to connect with you if they want?
You can connect with me through my email. I get lots of people through there. If you're just trying to ask questions, my email is Melkez, CALMELK, MELKEZ, movement at gmail.com. CalMelkezMovement@gmail.com. And you could just shoot me an email and say, hey, I'm interested in learning. I'm interested in this information. Can you help me out? I don't teach magic. Out of respect for my mentor in Lebanon, I connect people to him, and we all meet him together so that he can teach them and all these other things. I'm learning from him, all of these things. I've been doing it for a little while, but like I said, out of respect, I take you to the guru. I'm just a practitioner. Right.
And you have a YouTube channel, right, where you can see a lot of what you're doing. Yeah.
Oh, I've got over 100 videos. My YouTube channel is my name, Cal Melkez, CALMELKEZ.
Yeah.
Spelled just like it sounds.
Yeah, it's a good resource for people if you want to just kind of, see what Cal's doing and get a feel for his work and him and, and see if he resonates. Well, Cal, you have been a delight. It was such a pleasure having you on today. Check him out, guys. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Okay, I'll see you all here on July 13th. Thank you for listening to Postcards to the Universe with Melissa, creating the life you crave. And I'm wishing everyone a wonderful week filled with joy, abundance, and love. And have a happy June, guys. I'll see y'all soon. Peace.
Blessings.